Previously on Higurashi When They Cry console arcs. The Cold War between Mom and Grandma has been going on for over a week. Mom will not listen to Grandma at all, and Grandma is just as stubborn. There's no room to compromise. Grandma has always been kind and gentle, but she can be too set in her ways for her own good, so this confrontation will likely continue for a while. At times like these, Dad never intervenes. He stays far away from the two of them and avoids them, pathetically enough. So instead, I'm the one treated like their mediator. Or rather, their buffer.
この写真わかりますか?
Yep.
これはHinamizawa村特有のお祭り、通称綿流しの際に撮影されたものです。これが撮られた今年の6月19日。あなたもここのお祭りに参加して、そしてこの少女と会っている。そうですね。この少女、古出理香はお社様の巫女だそうですね。そして大災害が起こった前日の6月22日。そしてこの子が殺されたことでたたりが起きたとあなた方は考えている。たたりは古出家の当主が殺されたからだと。そういえばHinamizawa村で5年間同じくお社様のたたりということで毎年1人の死者と1人の行方不明者が出ていたそうですね。今年もまたそれに従って2人の犠牲者が出ていた。これについて何かご存知のことはありますか？
この人は、畠山さんは大災害があってすごく傷ついてるんです。刑事さんならもう少し被害者の気持ちを考えてくださってもいいんじゃないですか？それにこんなやり方って卑怯です。家族が同意してくれたって言っても本人はまだ協力するとは言ってません。そうでしょ？
Natsumiちゃん。
Detective Minai lightly clicked her tongue and adjusted her hair in irritation. Then she sighed and began to turn away. But suddenly, she looked toward my face as though she noticed something.
ずいぶん親身にかばうのね。ひょっとしてあなたもHinamizawaの？
Crap.
胸の名札見えたからね。そして君吉はHinamizawa村御三家と呼ばれる有力な旧家の名字の一つでし。
She knew? This woman. Just what was she trying to get out of me?
ねえ、君吉夏美さん。Hinamizawa村のことは本当にお気の毒だったと思っている。でもね、私も簡単には引けないの。刑事魂にかけても。ね。
あなたは何を？
What are you trying to find out? I tried to ask, but my voice refused to come out, as though my throat were clogged. But Detective Minai's assault continued before I could compose myself.
真実を。そして、あなたが知るすべてを。ね。
Hey, don't you understand? I'm the one who'll have to clean that up, you know? I'm the one who'll have to apologize to the neighbors for disturbing the peace, you know? I'm the one who'll have to cover for you to keep Toji-san and Natsumi from getting too worried, you know?
これの神どこに祝いたて祭り捧げたて祭りて沈めたて祭るかしこみかしこみも恋のみたて祭らくをお社の狼の高き広きがしき。
Shut up. Shut up, shut up, shut up! That's enough. Stop chanting those accursed spells and think about how much trouble you're causing all of us. And if you continue to ignore us or insist on causing a ruckus even after all that, then all I have to do is choose a simpler way of dealing with it.
ちーちゃんとしてはだ。付き合う同士なんだから、二人ともしっかりせんかいってのが本音だけどね。慌てる様子をからかうのも楽しいけど、そればっかりだといい加減飽きちゃうからさ。
まったく。あんな感じだと、二人ともデートしても緊張しっぱなしで疲れちゃうでしょうね。
そうだ。ここは一つ、私たちが一肌脱ぐか。
一肌脱ぐって、あんたが言うとなんかいやらしいんだけど。
失礼な。私はとてもフェアになおかつ有効的なやり方でだね。
Perhaps I'll come to deeply regret this someday. But right now, this seems like the best choice to me.
柿内 PS より各車両へ。柿内 PS より巡回中の各車両へ。殺人事件発生。繰り返す。佐伯病院敷地内の佐伯介護福祉センターにて殺人事件発生。被害者は山瀬和子。近くの車両は至急応援に向かわれたし。繰り返す。
I couldn't believe what I'd heard. As I stood there rooted like a soulless doll, Detective Minai passed by me and approached that police car. She picked up the receiver from inside and held it to her mouth.
未内者より、柿内 PSA。一課次長の未内、出ました。こちら応援含めて、計5台集合しています。あと3台、一般人の規制と整理のため、佐伯病院側へ回してください。それから、犯人追跡の必要はありません。容疑者は、
For a moment, Detective Minai glanced back at me. And then,
容疑者の畠山一馬は、13時51分、センター内一室にて死亡を確認。死因は失血死。詳細は追って連絡します。どうぞ。
This can't be Yamase-san. Because Yamase-san is very beautiful. She has smooth, soft white skin.
夏美落ち着きなさい。落ち着いて。
君、だから離れて。お前ら早く持ってけ。
She didn't have the split pomegranate for her face.
しっかりして夏美。お願いだから。藤田、私が責任取る。やれ。
はい。すまん。
I suddenly felt a heavy pressure on my neck. My breathing ceased and my vision went dark. A dream. That's right. This had to be a dream. Someone, please tell me it is. And so it continues. Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome back to my Let's Play the Higurashi When They Cry console arcs. Now, if you hear the faint sound of a lawnmower going off in the background, well, I got a neighbor mowing their lawn, so if you pick up the sound of any rumbling, faint as it may be, I hope it isn't too much of a distraction. Now, if you hear the sound of a man sneezing his brains out, well, chances are I'm dead, and this video will never see the light of day. Now, if we hear the sound of some random person in a hospital building, or, God forbid, some residential area, losing their effing minds and killing people, well, oh wait, that happened last episode, didn't it? Oh well, too late for that. All jokes aside, though, I wonder what's going to happen today. Genuinely. Huh? Where am I? Looks like we're in our own hospital room, going by the curtains and the fluorescent lights above our head. I saw a pure white ceiling. Then I must be colorblind. The fluorescent lights were faintly flickering. I could faintly smell the peculiar odor of chemicals. Was this a nurse's office? No. The room was too big and too quiet. In fact, was this even the school at all? And what time was it? I tried turning my head a little to the side. The windows were covered by thick curtains. Traces of orange light seeped through the gaps, but I wasn't able to see outside. I reluctantly sat up to get out of the bed, but was thrust down, as though there were a weight on the left side of the blanket, returning my head back to the pillow. Ah, how cute! My best friend that probably hates me stayed with me the whole time. Right then, the person sleeping at my bedside woke up and looked at me. It was Chisato-chan.
千里ちゃん？
夏美。
Chisato-chan's eyes overflowed with huge tears the moment she saw my face. Then she lunged forward and hugged me for dear life.
千里ちゃん、どうし…
よかったよ。私、本当に、どうしようかって。
It's looking to me like we have another situation where we definitely read some of the at least one character wrong. Not unlike in the main story. Can't say I'm really surprised, assuming, she's not faking us or something, but, well, I don't think she is. I don't think she's that devious and crazy. The warmth of her arms and her choked voice gradually removed the fog from my mind and brought back my memories. Right. I went with Chisato-chan to the care center. And then...
ごめん、千里ちゃん。心配かけちゃって。ごめんね。
Chisato-chan nodded over and over, but refused to loosen her grip around me. However, it didn't feel like the usual hug she did as a joke. No, this one was very, very gentle.
私こそ、ごめん。もっと強く、夏美を止めなきゃいけなかったんだ。役立たずで、ごめんね。
そんな、千里ちゃんのせいじゃないよ。だからもう、泣かないで。ね。
Chisato-chan was always cheerful and full of laughter. Honestly, part of me thought she was just making fun of me, but now I knew that I was mistaken. Even though she usually joked around, I was deeply grateful for how much she worried and cared about me.
ねえ、千里ちゃん。ここは…
佐伯病院の病室だよ。突然だったから、こんな部屋しかなくて。
I gently pulled myself away from Chisato-chan's chest and took another look around. It was a spacious and clean private room with only one bed. There was nothing very only room available about it. Chisato-chan must have demanded to her father that I be brought here. Come to think of it, what time is it? Probably supper time, if I had to guess, going by the sunset hue.
今、6時だよ。
Yep.
安心して。夏美のお母さんには、私の家で勉強会やって、そのまま泊まるって伝えてあるから。
Well, that was considerate of you. Thanks. Chisao-chan also mentioned that she was able to keep my part-time job a secret.
ごめんね。何から何まで。
いいんだよ。夏美は気にしなくて。私には、これくらいしかできないんだからさ。
そんなこと、ない。
Because I can't even do a single thing that Chisao-chan did. Right. In the end, I couldn't do anything. In fact, my actions might have done far more harm than good. Back then, if I hadn't stood up for old man Takayama, he could have been transferred to the psychiatric ward and received proper treatment. Then Yamase-san wouldn't have been killed, and everything could have been resolved peacefully.
やっぱり、夢じゃなかったんだね。
Understanding the meaning of the words I muttered to myself, Chisao-chan sat silently with a grave expression. She didn't say anything, but that reaction was answer enough.
山瀬さんはさ。
Instead, she said that quietly and shifted her eyes toward the window curtains.
もともと、佐伯病院の市長さんまで勤めていた優秀な看護師さんでね。あの介護福祉センターの設立を最初に提案した一人だったんだよ。
A few years ago, Yamase-san's family consisted of her husband, her son, and her father. Her father was old and bedridden. To make ends meet, Yamase-san apparently did her job both at the hospital and at home, every day. But her workload got even heavier after she was promoted to head nurse. Nursing is already the kind of profession where you have to work irregular shifts to provide patients with 24-hour care. And being a manager on top of that leaves you with little to no free time. For that reason, she couldn't do much at home, so her husband and son decided to help take care of her father. However, an unfortunate accident occurred. One day, when her father was sick with a fever, her son just administered vitamin supplements like it was any other cold, but the cold was actually organ failure. Unfortunately, the family didn't realize it for a while, so by the time his condition suddenly changed and they brought him to the hospital, it was already too late. Father passed away.
山瀬さんは息子さんを責めなかったよ。むしろその時の症状についてどうしてちゃんと教えておかなかったんだって後悔。それで
医療知識のない一般の人ではお年寄りの世話に対してどうしても不十分な対応をとってしまいがちです。また介護とは看護と同じく労務が重く、ご家族に対する負担も大きくなるでしょう。ですから治療を目的とした病院とは違うお年寄りの方々が通常生活を送る能力を身につけるための施設がこれからは必要になってくると私は考えます。
そう言って介護福祉センターの設立を私のお父さんに提案して、お年寄りの世話とリハビリを行える施設を立ち上げたんだ。そして介護士って仕事を医療の人たちにも認知してもらって、介護の重要性をいろんな人に理解してもらうために毎日頑張っていたのに。
This whole situation just sucks. I don't know what else to say other than that. It just sucks. Chisao-chan grit her teeth at that point. She clenched her fists so tight that they were turning white, and her nails began to dig in.
こんなひどい形で死ぬような人じゃなかったんだ。もっともっとたくさんの人のために働いて頑張っていろんな人に認められて幸せになる資格があった。それをおかしな野郎がめちゃめちゃに踏みにじっていきやがって。ちくしょうちくしょ
千里ちゃん。
う。おまけに最後は自分で喉引っかえて死んだ。
Then he was experiencing the last stages of Hinamizawa syndrome. Poor bastard.
ふざけんな。死にたきゃ一人で首くくれ。あんなに毎日頑張ってた山瀬さんを殺して、おまけに夏美まで巻き込んで、南沢の野郎がたたりだかなんだか知らないけど周りの人間まで巻き込む権利があいつらにあるってのか。
I silently wrapped my hands around Chisao-chan's trembling hands. She was always so kind and cheerful. She was my dear friend who was genuinely concerned for me and shed tears when I woke up. Yet that very same girl was now full of rage and hatred, sparing not a single word in voicing her enmity for Hinamizawa. After seeing that, I don't know what I'm thinking anymore. Empathy as a close friend? Sympathy as a person? Or pangs of conscience as someone from the very same place as the one I should hate? I don't know. I don't know what to feel anymore. And then someone knocked on the door. Chisao-chan took a breath, changed her expression, and responded in a stiff tone born from tension.
誰ですか。
書き写し書の見ないです。今よろしいでしょうか。
Kinda, yeah, but I'm sure you're gonna help yourself in anyway. Chisao-chan gripped my hands tight and looked into my eyes. She whispered, should I turn them away to me? But I slowly shook my head, and then nodded.
お入りください。
Never mind, I guess you are courteous enough to wait for permission.
失礼します。
And just a moment later, I heard the rattling of the doorknob as the door opened. Standing on the other side with a firm expression was Detective Minai, wearing the same red suit from before.
夏美さんの具合はいかがですか。
いいわけないでしょう。
Chisao-chan sounded like she was struggling to conceal her anger. However, Detective Minai seemingly paid her no heed and quietly walked into the room, passing right by her until she was right at my bedside, and turned to me.
ちょっと。
起きた直後にすみません。少しだけお時間いただけますか。君吉、夏美さん。
あんたね、夏美がさっきどういう思いをしたのか分かってんのか。
理解はしています。ただこれも仕事なのでご協力をお願いします。
冗談じゃない。とっとと帰って。
千里ちゃん。
I grabbed Chisao-chan's arm just as she was about to lunge at Detective Minai with fury. You do not want to insult someone involved with law enforcement. That will end very badly for you. It ain't worth it. Don't do it. I looked at her for a few seconds, then turned toward Detective Minai and began to speak.
できれば二人だけでもいいですか。
夏美、そんなこと。
ええ、私もその方が助かります。 夏美さんのお体の負担にならないように努めますので、よろしいでしょうか。
千里ちゃん、大丈夫だから。
I said that while smiling and holding Chisao-chan's hand. Chisao-chan hesitated for a while, but eventually agreed and stood up, perhaps out of consideration for my wishes. But just before she opened the door and left the room, she stared daggers at Detective Minai. With Chisao-chan gone, the room suddenly got quiet. I sat myself upright, grimacing from a dull pain in my head.
大丈夫？
平気です。多分。
いろいろと、あなたには聞きたいことがあるんだけど、辛くなったらすぐにやめるから遠慮なく言ってね。あ、座ってもいい？
どうぞ。
After thanking me, Detective Minai sat down on a folding chair. She began to speak, her face and tone softening compared to a minute ago.
ごめんなさい。あなたには乱暴な真似をしてしまったわね。首は平気？
ええ。
I gently ran my hand along my neck. It felt a bit off, but nothing serious.
あのまま叫び続けていたら、あなたの喉が潰れそうだったから。それに、周囲に混乱が広がるのを止めるために手荒なことをしてしまいました。やりすぎは認めます。
Well, at least you admit it.
いえ。
I smiled awkwardly and nodded half-heartedly. I thought she was a cold person, but the meek look on her face made my impression of her as a scary person fade slightly.
さっきの子、佐伯さんには随分と責められたわ。万一のことがあったらどうする気だ。責任なんて言葉で片付けるなってね。まさに正論だから抗弁のしようもなかったけど。
そんなことは。でも私、よく覚えていないんです。
Probably because you were out cold.
センターの前にパトカーがたくさん止まってて、そこにいた刑事さんに話しかけたところまでは思い出せるんですけど、そこから先は、なんだかぼんやりしていて。
精神的ショックからの一時的な混乱があるのかもね。でも、無理に思い出す必要はないから、今できる範囲で大丈夫よ。
はい。でも、
I made up my mind and asked. I knew it would sound suspicious, but I still couldn't believe it.
山瀬さんは、本当に亡くなったんですか？
ええ。
Detective Minai cocked her head in surprise for a moment, looked back and forth as if carefully considering her words, took a deep breath, and quietly nodded in affirmation.
警察が駆けつけた時にはもう心停止状態だったわ。鑑識の話だと後頭部を激しく殴打されてほぼ即死でした。
And at least she didn't suffer. So, silver lining in an otherwise really tragic and shitty situation.
そうですか。
苦しまずに絶命したからまだ良かったなんて聖者のざれ言ね。
Arrogant maybe, but no less true.
犯罪を未然に止められなかったのは私たち。いえ、この場合は私一人のミスです。
What do you mean?
謝って済まされるものじゃないけど、言葉にだけはさせてください。ごめんなさい。
I silently watched as Detective Minai bowed her head. So what did you do? Cause the old man to get seriously agitated or something? Strangely enough, I felt no anger nor sadness, even though I was crying and shouting at her just a few hours ago.
正直、 私は甘く見ていた。畠山氏は温厚な人柄だって聞いていたから、まさか強行はないって勝手に思って。もう少し監視を強くしていたら、こんなことには。
畠山のおじいちゃんはどうなりましたか？
それを聞いてどうするの？
別に何もないです。でも刑事さん、この後私に尋問するんですよね。だったら刑事さんもご存知のことを教えてください。私もう関係者ですから。
I thought maybe I was being audacious, but I refused to concede on this point. If I didn't learn anything about the circumstances, this might just end with me mourning Yamase-san's murder and hating old man Hatakeyama for it. And nothing more. I didn't want that. Both of them were close to me, so I wanted to learn everything I could. After staring at me while thinking for a while, Detective Minai finally said that. I nodded, understanding she was asking me not to tell anyone else.
辛い話になるけど、それでもいいの？
はい。
Detective Minai heard my reply, then took a notepad from her breast pocket and opened it. Then she began talking in a voice devoid of emotion.
畠山一馬容疑者は朝の11時前後に介護士控室に侵入。そこで通話中だった被害者の山瀬和子に対し、部屋に備え付けの消火器を振り上げて後頭部を殴打し、殺害。
Then, frankly, you didn't really make a mistake other than how you handled Natsumi. So, maybe I'm just misreading this, and maybe I'm just misreading things a little bit here, but I am confuzzled.
鑑識の話だと、直接の死因は後頭部への殴打による頭蓋骨陥没と頸椎損傷。
It happened right after the other caregivers had left to clean up the patients' breakfast. They said Yamase-san returned to the waiting room to respond to a call from the hospital's nurse center. It was a report that Hatakeyama-san had disappeared from the hospital room where his fever was being treated. According to eyewitness reports from other caregivers, Yamase-san was surprised to hear that, having not seen him at breakfast, and proceeded to call Hatakeyama-san's family. The phone in the waiting room was on the opposite side of the entrance, meaning her back was turned to it. So she sat in a chair, unable to hear the door opening due to the sound of the phone. She was struck hard from behind by the fire extinguisher. And that was the end of her.
平気？やっぱりやめましょうか？
いえ、大丈夫です。続けてください。
Noticing I was clenching the bedsheets slightly, Detective Minai briefly stopped talking out of concern. But I shook my head and urged her on. The pang of irritation I'd felt wasn't because I found the story painful. Rather, it was the opposite. It was because I didn't feel anything about it. Why? The person I know was killed. Shouldn't I be sad?
それから容疑者は洗い場の食器棚から文化包丁を入手して、しばらく滞在の後、センター内の自室に逃走。そして12時37分、その室内にて自傷行為に至る。すぐに通報を受けて急行した警官隊が突入。確保して救急医を呼ぶが、出血がひどく、13時51分に死亡を確認。以上です。
Detective Minai probably intentionally omitted the violence Hatakeyama-san inflicted on Yamase-san's body. However, I had no need to confirm that. As for why, it was because I can no longer recall the state of her corpse. Probably for the best. In the meantime, everyone else either watched him from a distance or locked themselves in their own rooms, fearing they'd be next. As a result, no one tried to stop him. Apparently, some of the caregivers fled their workplace in fear. That was probably the obvious reaction. If I were there, I would have run away crying and hid myself somewhere safe, trembling with fear. All I would had to do was deny it, and no one could prove otherwise. Or maybe not. Would I really have run away if I were there? I mean, old man Hatakeyama shouldn't have been able to kill me. You don't know that. Moreover, even if he turned his blade on me, he wouldn't be the old man I knew. In that case, if he was just an imposter of old man Hatakeyama, I'm sure I could have. No, you couldn't.
君吉さん。
すみません。自傷行為と今、刑事さんは言いましたけど、それも包丁ですか？
いいえ。文化包丁は自室に戻ってすぐ窓から投げ捨てられたわ。凶器は爪よ。
爪？
そう。こう喉に指を突き立てて力を込めて何度も引っかいたの。
You know, I just thought of something. Are you actually supposed to be sharing all this information with a random civilian who... Because this seems like information that needs to be kept confidential to the investigation.
皮膚とその下の肉が裂けるくらいにね。
It didn't make any sense. Even if he came to regret committing murder and chose to atone for it by taking his own life, why wouldn't he do it using the sharper weapon?
それもそうね。ただ、容疑者が精神的に錯乱していたのは目撃証言から考えても事実のようだし、実際に私が以前会った時にもお社様崇拝に妄執するなど異常行為が見られた。だから非論理的な根拠によってそれを説明することは困難だと判断しました。
でも
Fingernails are hard. They're softer than bones, of course, but they're the second hardest part of the human body. However, they are not very sharp, especially compared to metal cutlery, so even though the throat is a vulnerable area, it would take time to make an incision, and he would have been feeling severe pain the whole time. Well, unfortunately, what he was afflicted with was one hell of an adrenaline pusher. So, he probably didn't feel most of that pain. Considering all that, I couldn't think of a single reason he'd choose to use his nails.
これでいいかしら。
After saying that, Detective Minai closed her notebook and held it to her mouth. I still didn't feel like I had all the pieces, but I nodded and answered yes for the time being.
それじゃあ、私からの質問。今言ったお社様についてよ。
お社様。
そう。南沢村に古くから伝わる守り神のこと。つい先日の大災害の時も、お社様のたたりだって、お年寄りたちが騒いでいたみたいだけど、あれってどういうこと？
その前に、約束してください。
I raised my head and stared at Detective Minai.
何を？
私は知っていること、ここで全部話します。だから、 これ以上は聞いても調べても何も出てきません。それに多分、他のhinamizawa出身の人に尋ねても、今話す以上のことは出てこないと思います。
それで？
だから、今後私と私の周囲の人たちに対して、hinamizawaについて聞き込みをするのはやめてください。もう、これを最後にしてもらいたいんです。
Right. Honestly, I had enough. I was fed up. I've been caught in more trouble than I should have, and felt more pain than I should have, all thanks to my connection with Hinamizawa. That's why I wanted to end it all here, because I had nothing to do with Hinamizawa or the curse.
わかった。約束します。あなたとhinamizawaの話をするのは、これが最初で最後。これでいい？
すみません。じゃあ、話します。お社様について、でしたよね。
Then I retracted what I could remember, and began to retrace, I don't know where I got track. Even though my head had been all hazy just a few moments ago, now it oddly felt refreshingly clear.
うちのおばあちゃんは、hinamizawaの人間が村を捨てて出て行ったことが、hinamizawa合災害、つまり、お社様のたたりの原因なんだって言っています。お社様は、村人が村の外へ出ることを許さない。それを破って出ていく者は、必ずたたられて不幸が訪れる。その結果、だそうです。
村を捨てて外に出ていくとは、単なる移転とか引っ越しでも？
それ以外にも、旅行も少し前まではダメだったと聞きました。だから、無断で出て行った人には、お社様が必ず後ろについて回って、私が聞いたわけじゃないけど、その人が道を歩いていると、その足音が必ず一つ増えて聞こえるそうです。
Woof woof.
奇妙な神様もいたものね。そこまで恐れるほどのたたりが本当に存在するの？
Poor Hanyu. She's bizarre.
私は、正直、あまり信じていません。それにおそらく若い子の大半は私と同じだと思います。でも、お年寄りの人たちは綿流しのたたりが起こって以来、お社様への信仰と畏怖をものすごく強めていきました。
綿流しのたたりが起こってから？
Detective Minai seemed a little dubious, but she was writing my story down in her notepad.
それじゃあ次の質問。その綿流しのたたりと言われている。
よくご存知ですね。でも、私は沖宮にいたから、詳しくは。
構わないわ。お願い。
After saying that, she leaned forward and looked closely at me. I didn't have much interest in it, but I told her as much as I knew for the time being.
4年前のhinamizawaダム建設反対運動の時です。私の親戚のおじいちゃんが村長で、その指揮を取っていたんですが、工事現場の監督さんが、綿流しの日の晩に殺されました。犯人は、現場の作業員さんたちだったそうです。
その事件はこっちの新聞でも掲載されたわ。犯人グループは死体をバラバラにして、それぞれが隠匿した。ただ、結局は一人を除いて逮捕。残るリーダー格は逃亡して、現在も行方不明だそうだけど。
That reminded me. At the time, some weekly magazine wrote an amusingly exaggerated article about the village and the tragedy. It's unclear whether that was the trigger, but the dam construction plan was completely reset, so the incident was considered a blessing to the village.
あの事件は、ひなみ沢の人たちが反対するダム建設の関係者が殺されたので、半分冗談みたいにたたりだと言われていました。だから、その時は誰も、お社様に対しての怖さというか、信心の気持ちはなかったと思います。
Yes. At that time, the existence of Oyashiro-sama and the curse were only symbols for the villagers to unite behind. Although Watanagashi was indeed honored as a source of spiritual support, it was very small compared to festivals near Okinomiya. I don't think it'd be wrong to say only a few took it all that seriously.
状況が変わったのは、その次の年からです。ダム建設賛成派の指導的立場で、国からそのためのいろんなリベートを受け取っていると噂されていた北条家の夫妻が、渡辺崖からの転落事故でした。
On the day of Watanagashi, Hojo and his wife went for a family drive. They allegedly left their daughter in the car and went out to enjoy the scenery. Then the fence they were leaning on collapsed, and both of them fell into a mountain stream. The corpse of the husband was located, but his wife was never found.
すごく不謹慎な言い方になりますが、村の大半がざまあみろの気分でした。私も北条家のご主人あまり好きじゃなかったし、そしてそれを契機にして日和見だった人たちが建設反対派に迎合、村を二分した対立はそこで終結しました。
Moreover, they never reconciled with the surviving members of the Hojo family. Their children, who were about my age, continued to receive the cold shoulder from the villagers. To tell the truth, I felt sorry for them. The parents may have betrayed the village, but the rest of their family was another matter entirely. Needless to say, their children had nothing to do with it, so Mion-chan and Rika-chan angrily complained how unfair it was. Still, the mayor would get in a bad mood whenever I brought it up with him, so I stopped talking too much about it. I wasn't acquainted with them, so I eventually resigned to stand aside, and I'd almost forgotten it until now.
そして翌年、今度はダム建設反対派の中でも穏健の姿勢を取り続けていた古出家の当主夫妻が亡くなりました。ご主人は病死、奥さんは受水自殺と聞いています。そしてこの時に村のみんながお社様のたたりを恐れるようになったと思います。
どうして？
穏健派ということは、運動の象徴であるお社様を真剣に敬っていないということ。そのせいで罰が当たったのだとしたら、信心の深くない人は皆、お社様のたたりの対象になるってことですから。だから、村人のほとんどが、自分に火の粉が降りかからないように、信仰を厚く行って、そのお祭りである綿流しを真剣に、大規模に行うようになりました。私のおばあちゃんも、
おばあちゃん？
あ、いえ。
For a moment, Detective Minai's tone dropped a little lower. I didn't want to discuss Grandma's recent delusions, so I brushed the whole thing aside and continued explaining.
そして去年、綿流しに参加しなかった北条家の主婦が殺されました。同時に、その娘も行方不明になっています。
Well, good news is my brain is still inside my skull.
そして今年は、
旅行中のカメラマンが殺されて、彼と仲の良かった村の診療所の看護師が山中にて焼き殺された。でしょ？
え？
It was my turn to be surprised. Only those from Hinamizawa should have known about it. My own family only just found out about it after getting in touch with our relatives.
実はね、今年の事件については、沖宮署の刑事さんから話を聞いていたの。そして、その看護師さんが山中で発見された現場に立ち会っていたのは、私。そういうことなの。
じゃあ、綿流しの殺人事件についても？
その人から少しは。でも、おかげでいくつか貴重な情報を聞くことができたわ。ありがとう。助かりました。
Detective Minai answered in anticipation to my question, closed her notepad, and put it in her pocket. Then she leaned back in her chair to relieve her tension, turned away, and sighed. She then noticed a clock sitting on the small table next to my bed, picked it up, and checked the time.
ずいぶん時間をもらってしまったわね。体の方は大丈夫？
あ、はい。平気です。
I actually felt slightly ill, but I shook my head. Seeing that, Detective Minai faintly smiled and got up out of her seat.
ご協力、感謝します。それと、私が言えた義理じゃないけど、お大事にね。
I called out to Detective Minai just as she politely bowed to me and motioned to leave the room. I nearly got back when she shot me a quizzical look, but I took a breath and told her to repeat what I asked earlier.
本当に、これでもう最後にしてください。お願いします。
わかっています。私はこれでも嘘が嫌いなの。約束を破るのも、ね。
あと、私がひなみざわの御三家出身だってことも、みんなには黙っていてもらえませんか？
ん？
For a moment, Detective Minai looked at me peculiarly, but she quickly picked up on my intentions and nodded firmly.
わかりました。確かに昨今、ひなみざわに対して異常な偏見が広がっているしね。約束します。さっきの佐伯さんにも余計なことは言いませんから。
ありがとうございます。
それじゃあ、帰り際に佐伯さんに声をかけておくわね。今日はゆっくり休んで。
Detective Minai left the room. I was left all alone in the largest hospital room. I wonder if Chisato-chan was somewhere close by listening in on our conversation. Again. Why? Ever since a little while ago, my heart and mind had felt light. Like they'd cleared up. The same went for my sadness, anger, and warm feelings. They were all gone. Yamase-san had been murdered. Hatakeyama-sen was dead. Chisato-chan had erupted with anger. Detective Minai was desperately trying to solve the mystery. Yet for some reason, it didn't feel like any of it mattered. Are we breaking the fourth wall a little bit on this particular console arc? I honestly can't tell. Then, I removed all the heavy stones from my head and began to think clearly. One reliable answer came to mind.
そうだ。
The reason I had been depressed and suffering up until now. It was because I came from Hinamizawa. Lives had been lost in the blink of an eye. Efforts had gone to waste, just like that. Telling others you were from Hinamizawa only brought misfortune, and the loss of 2 lives. In that case, the solution was very simple. I just had to cease being a Hinamizawan. No, that's not gonna work. Unfortunately, you're just burying your head in the sand at that point. Or rather, burying your head into the gravel, right in the middle of a street, right in the path of an oncoming car. Just because you can't see the car, or you can't hear it, does not mean that there's a car coming your way. Okay, maybe that might not be the best example, but my point is, this isn't going to work. Then I wouldn't have to suffer from this detestable inferiority complex. Nah, you'd still suffer from it. And if I wasn't a member of the three families, then those who feared the curse would no longer mean anything to me. How easy. What a simple solution. Guilt? Pricks of conscience? What good would any of that do? If I hadn't stood up for old man Hatakeyama, that crazy old man who went insane from fear of the curse, Yamase-san wouldn't have had to die, would she? We do not know that. What good was whitewashing things? What would a show of false kindness accomplish? Well, your mental faculties are deteriorating rather rapidly all of a sudden. That detective promised me I would no longer have anything to do with this. And I told her everything. Everything I knew about Hinamizawa. No. That's not right. I didn't tell her about Hinamizawa. I threw away Hinamizawa. Things that should be kept secret. Things that should have invoked divine punishment. Everything. Everything! So I'm no longer a Hinamizawan. There is no curse. Those who fear it are of no concern to me. Well, we'll see if you'll still be feeling like that once you find out what's going on with dear old Grandma. And so, with each slander I throw Hinamizawa's way, my heart fills with joy, clears up, grows lighter, and shines brighter. That's it. I'll keep things the way they are now. My dear friends, the person I love, everything and everyone that makes me happy. For that reason, I'll harden my heart and strengthen it more than ever. Hinamizawa was no longer my problem. And in this moment, where the sound of the Higurashi gradually faded away, where I sat amidst the vermilion light fading into darkness, I felt happier than I ever had before. Yeah, the stress is starting to get to her. Really get to her. I think things are officially going to go downhill from here. And we got a tip. The investigation has begun. Okay, so tell us about this beginning investigation. Shingo Fujita wiped the sweat from his brow while entering the first investigation division floor, then returned to his desk. Then he turned to face Assistant Director Minai's desk, positioned diagonally from his desk by the window, only to widen his eyes in surprise. He noticed colorful red, blue, and yellow wrappers piled high on the desk. There were 10. No, 20. No, more than that stacked there.
ハンバーガーよ。
Big eater. Damn.
見てわかんない？
いや、俺が言ってるのは物じゃなくて、量。
You eat all that bread, you're gonna pack on. If you eat all that bread, you're gonna pack on the pounds real quick. Just saying. Fujita looked away, feeling nauseous just thinking about eating so many hamburgers. But he was even more stunned when he saw the trash can next to her overflowing with crumpled hamburger wrappers. Can you even afford this on your salary? No way. Could this person sitting alone have eaten all these? Apparently.
Oh.
Ah, the language of my people. Stuffed mouths.
せめて食ってから言ってください。
Tomei abruptly grabbed the cup from the top of her desk, held a straw to her mouth, and vigorously inhaled. Wait, a milkshake? Seriously? Even her beverage is junk food? Well, if she only just ate the meat patties and maybe some of the vegetables that may have come with the burger, that is in itself isn't really junk food. The bread, on the other hand, well, it basically just converts to sugar.
一息ついた。
一息つくまでにいくら食べたんですか、ミナイさん。失礼を重々承知の上で言わせていただきますが、不思議を通り越してむしろ不気味ですよ。
うっさいわね。肉体労働にはエネルギーが必要なのよ。
What in God's green earth do you possibly do that requires you to eat an entire trash can's worth of hamburgers plus extra? I'm genuinely curious.
そして使いすぎた頭脳の回復には糖分を大量に摂取しないと。
Haven't you heard of sugar overdose? I mean, I think every single one of us who was a kid experienced that at least once.
なんか文句あるの？
いや、ないですけどね。
Fujita barely abstained from saying you still have limits. Nearly half a year had passed since he started working for this chief inspector, and he still found it almost impossible to believe this jovial woman was the same age as him. She was an elite member of the so-called Associates career class that was personally assembled by Chief Yamaoki, the Kakiuchi Station Chief of Police.
とはいえ、最初の頃は順風満帆とはとても言えなかったよな。
Word gets around in any kind of organization, and this station had already developed its own factions. For that reason, Tomie was arbitrarily branded as a member of the chief's faction and had to deal with the deputy chief's faction's envy. So Tomie was given the honorary title of assistant director, technically higher in rank than the section chief, but with no actual authority. Dicks. You're all dicks. As a result, Fujita's boss on paper was actually the section chief of the 1st Investigation Division, Yanamura. At first, he and the other detectives looked down on Tomie based on their preconceived prejudice against a woman with a career, and coldly watched her while giving her show-me-what-you've-got looks.
普通なら怒るかふてくされるかだろうな。でも彼女は違った。
As soon as she arrived, Tomie exhibited intelligent insights and a will to take action, and was able to solve a difficult case just before it went unsolved. And she diligently traveled across various crime scenes, toiling tirelessly day and night, working incidents from inception to resolution. Of all the 1st Investigation Division, including Section Chief Yamamura, all of them, were completely overwhelmed by her dedication, and they came to admit she had earned the title of boss. Of course, Fujita was one of them. Now, if she keeps at it, maybe she can earn the title of Big Boss. For that reason, they'd grown to respect her. He deeply regretted that were it not for her extreme eating habits, a talented woman with her good looks and lively personality could have had the most handsome of men at her beck and call.
そんなことより、そっちの捜査はどう？畠山一馬の家族の様子は？
とりあえず息子夫婦には早退してもらいまして、いろいろと任意で聞き込みをしましたが、収穫はゼロでした。完全に貝でしたよ。
貝ね。前に会った時はhinamizawa沢のこととかも結構話してくれたんだけど。
やはりたたりを恐れているようでしたね。畠山一馬の表現ぶりが当人たちには相当なショックだったようです。
そうよね。さすがに当事者ともなれば、前のように迷信だって笑えないわよね。
After saying that, Tomei tossed a potato chip into her mouth. Good God, she's got an appetite for this stuff. According to Natsumi Kimiyoshi, it's mostly the elderly who believe in Oyashiro-sama's curse, even in Hinamizawa. But the middle-aged and younger members of the population are less devout, and find the notion laughable. Natsumi's dear old mama, and well, Natsumi herself come to mind. Kazuma's son and his wife were probably not afraid of the curse, which is why they agreed to cooperate with the investigation. Nevertheless, that probably won't be the case in the future.
ひょっとしたら、その発端が警察にあるんじゃないかって、こちらを恨んでいることだって考えられるでしょうね。
そんなことを言い出したら、介護福祉センターに入居させたことがそもそもの始まりじゃないですか。警察を逆恨みするのは筋違いだと思いますが。
そんなこと、当人たちだって分かっているわよ。でも、認めたくないのよ。自分たちのせいで、畠山一馬を死に追いやったんじゃないか、なんてことは。
Based on first impressions, Kazuma's son, Masao Hatakeyama, seemed like a good-natured middle-aged man. His wife, Yoshiko, also seemed kind. She had a reputation within the neighborhood as a good housewife, and both of them seemed to be very concerned about Kazuma. In fact, last year, when he lost his wife of many years, it was actually Yoshiko who offered him a place to stay with them. That's why. This incident had to have been unbearably shocking for those kind-hearted people.
それにしても、だとしたらどうして数ヶ月も経たないうちにセンターへ入居させたんでしょう。一緒に住んでいて何か問題でもあったんでしょうか。
介護士の話だとね、奥さんを失ったショックで落ち込んで、自分の殻に閉じこもるようになったそうなの。足が弱くなって救急車で運ばれたことがあってからは余計にね。
That is just sad.
息子夫婦や孫たちが話しかけても黙りこくってダメだったみたい。だから同世代の人たちが集まる環境ならあるいはと考えたそうよ。それに奥さんがパート勤めから正社員に昇格したこともあってやむなくの選択だったらしいわ。
Masao apparently considered returning him to Hinamizawa, but Yoshiko thought that would be a poor choice in her father-in-law's current state. Tomei heard from one of their neighbors that the family had planned on talking to Kazuma about living with him again, or returning to Hinamizawa after he became healthy.
なんかやりきれないですね。
そうね。相手の幸せのためにやってきたことが逆に不幸にさせてしまったのだとしたら、優しさって一体何なのかしら。
I still think the actual intention behind the action is key. Well, then again, I'm thinking about it more. I guess they actually might have a point here. I guess it's not quite as black and white as I was initially thinking here. And that I was going to propose. Because, thinking about it, you could say that as a drill sergeant, beating a particularly nasty one at that, pushing your own cadets to a point where like one or two of them may end up dying during live training exercises or something like that, only to well, okay, I know I'm not explain. I don't think I can explain this particular example well, but point is, yeah, if I were to whack you over the head with a baseball bat or something in order to knock you out, not enough strength to kill you, obviously, but enough to knock you out, because I don't know, you were suffering hallucination or something, and the only way that I could get you snap out is to knock you unconscious, let your brain sort itself out until you wake up or something. Yeah, like, I may have stopped you from having a hallucination, but the way I would go about it would end up probably giving you a nasty concussion. So, did I really do you a kindness by choosing to help you in that specific way? Yeah, again, I don't really think I'm explaining myself well at all here, so I'm just going to continue. Unable to find an answer, Fujita quietly sighed. Tomei kept her mouth closed for a while, but crushed the empty bag of potato chips into a ball and threw it in the trash, then turned to face Fujita.
とりあえずお疲れ様。ごめんね、私のわがままに付き合わせちゃって。
ああ、いえ、このくらい。未来さんはこの後どうしますか？hinamizawa沢のことをまだ調べるつもりなら、俺も一緒に付き合いますが。
そうね。
So ne does not sound like a Just saying. Tomei turned to face the scenery outside the window. Although it was only visible through a small gap in the blinds, the evening lights were shimmering in the shadow of the building.
行方不明になった大石さんの手がかりにでもなればと思ったんだけど、どうやらこれ以上の見入りはなさそうね。
Say what? Oh, wait. Yeah. Normally, Ushi is also killed right as the disaster itself starts. Normally through sniper fire through the mountain dogs. So yeah, he's dead.
あのこともこれで最後にするって約束しちゃったし。
未来さん、本当にお社様のたたりを調べることが、その大石って刑事さんの消息を確かめることになるんですか？なんかその理屈がわからないっていうか。すみません、難癖をつけるわけじゃないんです。
いいの、藤田くんの言いたいことは分かってるつもりだから。私もね、正直言って半信半疑なの。でも
That phone call from Ushi. Shortly after they were asked to investigate the body of a victim who was killed by Oshiro-sama's curse. The gas disaster occurred in Hinamizawa village. And then, Ushi went missing. It could just be a coincidence, but that was looking increasingly unlikely. So she thought that by looking into the truth of the matter, she could understand what Ushi was trying to accomplish.
ま、 とりあえずこの一件は、まずここで置きましょう。他にも仕事がないわけじゃないし。これ以上藤田くんを連れ回して、奥さんに浮気相手って疑われるのも、いろんな意味で心外だし、ね。
みないさんしつこいですよ。あの件では俺も優子も平謝りに謝ったじゃないですか。
いいでしょ、これくらいは。寂しい独り身のちょっとした憂さ晴らしなんだからさ。困った時の殿下の宝刀として、生涯私の家宝としておきます。
お兄やあんた
それはともかく、どう？藤田くんも一緒に。お腹空いてるでしょ？
Are you sure that you're actually human? After eating all those hamburgers?
結構です。
即答ね。私の勧める食事が食べられないっての？
ハンバーガーは好きですけどね。さすがにそれだけの量を目の前にして、食指は動きませんっての。
なーによ！人を大食いみたいに。
And just then, a loud siren echoed across the floor, and the air instantly grew tense. Then the voice of an announcer came in through the speakers, mixed with a lot of background noise.
県警本部より書き写所の刑事課へ通達。繰り返す。県警本部より書き写所の刑事課へ通達。殺人事件発生。容疑者の所在は不明。事件現場は。
After quickly writing down the name and address from the announcement, Tomie immediately rushed to the map board on the side wall. But then she noticed Section Chief Yamamura was also beside it. Yamamura shrugged his shoulders, then smiled and nodded to tell her not to mind him. He was a good-natured man close to retirement age. Until recently he had left most of his duties in command authority to Tomie. Tomie responded with a nod while sifting through the dispatch roster. Then she turned back toward the detective standing and waiting for her orders, and spoke.
高屋敷さんと花田くん、5号車で出動。鑑識対応よろしく。山上さんと安藤さんは交通課と連携して4丁目交差点の交通整理と左折道路の封鎖を。反対側の3丁目交差点には中山くんと島さんで。
This must be right when the old man started to go nuts.
それから藤田くんは私と2号車表に回してきて。
了解。
山村課長、状況次第では本店とつなぎます。その時はよろしくお願いします。
わかった。頼んだぞ。
This also explains why Minai was so insistent on trying to get information out of me.
はい。それじゃあみんな。
Responding to Tomei's command, all the detectives scrambled across the floor together. However, Tomei stopped and turned around in surprise when another announcement came pouring out of speakers.
県警本部第一機動捜査隊より連絡あり。容疑者は捜査員到着後、事件現場の家屋内にて自殺を図った模様。意識は不明。所轄の刑事は至急救急車両及び隊員の進路を確保されたし、現場は一般家庭住宅。
Family's residence. Wait, so does this take place after our conversation with Minai? Oh no. Grandma, what did you do?
被害者は容疑者の妻と子供2人で、いずれも死亡を確認。
Okay, so it's definitely not us, thank God, because last I checked, as far as I'm aware, Natsumi doesn't have any siblings.
容疑者の氏名は畠山正夫。
Oh shit.
え
？That's right. This incident still wasn't over. On the contrary, it was still only beginning. Well, shit. On top of everything else we've seen so far, we now got a murder-suicide involving an entire family. Yep, things are definitely spiraling out of control here. I cannot see this boding well for Natsumi's mental health. At all. Well, I think we can keep going for a little while longer, so let's see what's going on at school, okay? School.
というわけだよ。
I was kind of thinking that we would be heading home right now and seeing the wonderful do-over to the house that Grandma had done.
だからドーンと言ってこい、夏美。
Confused, I looked back and forth between Chisao-chan, standing proudly in front of me in an imposing stance, and the two colorful tickets sitting on my desk. They seemed like movie tickets. What movie? Probably something I don't even know. As soon as class ended, Chisao-chan slammed the tickets on my desk with a triumphant look on her face. Overwhelmed by her smile, I took one of them to be safe. The date was this Sunday. The price was 2,500 yen, a little expensive. Apparently we had better seats than average. I look up, but Chisao-chan just smiled and said nothing. Reluctantly, I took the other one and verified that it had the same information. The only difference was the serial number.
千里ちゃん。
なんだい、我が親友よ。
この映画館って今年できたシネコンだよね。私、今ここで何やってるか全然知らないから、できれば千里ちゃんの見たい映画教えてくれるかな。
は？なんで私の見たい映画を聞く？
だって要するに一緒に行こうって意味なんでしょ？
こんなアホー！
Well, excuse me, what else was I supposed to assume from you just handing me a goddamn movie ticket? She shouted right in my face, causing me to flinch backwards. By pure dumb luck, I managed to avoid falling out of my chair.
いきなりなんなのよ、千里ちゃん。
夏美。こうやって映画館の特別席チケットを1枚ペアで渡したら、普通想像することって言ったら一つしかないでしょ。
Oh, you mean between me and Akira, right? Yeah, you're right. I'm a moron, and so is Natsumi.
一つってだから一緒に映画に。
何が悲しゅうで高い特別席のペアシートに女同士で座らなきゃいけないんじゃ。
You call that sad? Faced with yet another shout, I hid behind my other best friend who was standing next to me. Tomoko-chan, who had been watching our interaction up close with exasperation, let out a deep sigh as she stood between Chisao-chan and me, then began to speak. I'm surprised I was able to read that.
ね、千里。今のやりとりだけだと、私だってあんたが映画に誘ってるとしか思えないんだけど。別に行けばいいじゃん。二人でさ。
何を言うか。そもそも映画ってのは普通男女のカップルで見に行くもんなんだよ。
Or between friends. Or between families, if you're going to see a family movie. It ain't just a romantic thing.
女同士で行って何が楽しい？
What do I even say to this?
私、 あんたがカップルで映画見に行ったところ、生まれてこの方見たことない。それにこの前私があんたと一緒に行ったあれはなんだ？
Wow! Are you saying that the last time you and Tomoko went to a movie together, it was a very sad occasion? Now that's just harsh. Poor Tomoko.
あれは例外だ。
その例外が3桁の回数に達している現状だと、むしろあんたの普通の方が例外だ。
Triple digits, Jesus Christ. I don't think I've ever gone to a movie theater that many times in my life before.
何の雑誌の受け売りか知らないけど、目を開けたまま寝ぼけてんじゃないの？
にゃにょ
The usual sarcasm and rebuttals began to unfold. Normally I just watch from the sidelines without doing anything. But this time the situation was a bit different.
こーら夏美、あんたが人事みたいな顔してるんじゃない。これはあんたに神が下された勝利の鍵なのよ。
はあ？
She was making less sense by the minute. But then...
おい、チサ。
Well, speak of the possible boyfriend. Look who it is.
この前貸した辞書、いい加減返せ。
私の言いたいのはね、これ使ってあの牧年人をどこかに連れ出して、いい加減一度くらいはデートしろってことなんだよ。
The moment I realized the meaning of those words, my face flushed. For better or worse, Akira-kun, who'd come to get his dictionary back, also froze when he heard it.
アキラくん。
ああ、アキラ。こりゃちょうどいいグッドタイミングだ。
Impeccable timing, as a matter of fact. It seemed like bad timing to me, even the worst. Chisao-chan gave me a sidelong glance as I stood there petrified. Then she walked up to Akira-kun. Akira-kun turned to leave the classroom. No doubt his warning instincts from many years of friendship with Chisao-chan kicking in. But she swiftly grabbed him by the collar before he could escape.
何しやがるチサ。
おいおい、この状況で逃げるなんてあんた本当に男か？もうちょっと彼氏らしく堂々としなさいっての。
I agree. You should face the thing in front of you.
佐藤ちゃん。
Those bold words snapped me out of my funk as I frantically stood up and rushed over to Chisato-chan. But it was already too late. The classroom, where more than half of my classmates still remained, turned into a melting pot of cheering and awe in an instant. The boys whistled, while the girls surrounded me in a flash. Well, look what you done, my dear best friend. You now officially made me the gossip of the school. My reputation is forever changed, and my life is ruined. And it's all your fault.
君吉さん、東堂くんと付き合ってたの？うわー、聞いてないよそんな話。いいな。東堂くんのこと、私密かに狙ってたのに。
Well, I'm glad to see that you're at least not, upset with me.
告白はどっちから？君吉さん？東堂くん？
No matter how hard I wanted to deny it, my mind was in a panic. My throat was trembling, and I couldn't think of any words to say. Plus, it wasn't just my face. My whole body was heating up as though it was blowing out steam. I felt like I was about to faint right there.
アキラくん。
このタダ、うまくやりやがって。 羨ましいぞこの野郎。
Wow, look at that. Apparently you also had some other people checking you out, Natsumi.
女に興味ない顔してたくせによ。やめろって。
Well, I think. Maybe not, I don't know.
首絞めるな。
On the other hand, Akira-kun was being jostled, poked, kicked, and put into a headlock by some of his friends. Anybody kicked me in a situation like that, I'd kick him right back. Like a horse. He managed to escape their rather violent expression of congratulations, then glared angrily at Chisato-chan, standing there with her arms crossed, in a big grin.
おい、こら、千里。てめえ、よく。
だってさ、あんた告白してから一体何日放置してんのよ。私の見てた限り、昼休みとか放課後にも連れ出した形跡ないし。
Is that true? Kira! Come on, man. You gotta at least feed me.
まったく、へたれというかなんというか。
そんなの、俺の勝手だろうが。
Oh, I see. So it's your choice to decide on whether or not to starve your new girlfriend, huh? Real? That's really something.
それに、君吉からまだ返事をもらって。
Right. Duh, I forgot. I haven't actually even replied yet. Shit. That totally slipped my mind. Never mind. Ignore me, Akira. I'll save the criticisms for after I respond.
あほう！夏美はいつでもウェルカムだったっつの。まあ、こっちも黙って見守ってやるつもりだったけど、あんたと来たら全然アクション起こさないしさ。大したことない用事で何度もうちのクラスに顔を出してたくせに、情けないったらありゃしない。
Was that true? Come to think of it, I did notice he'd been giving and taking dictionaries and notebooks from Chisato-chan and Tomoko-chan during breaks recently. But I didn't think anything of it.
んで、このままじゃ進展なさそうだったし。ちょいと起爆剤というか、葉っぱをかけてやったんだよ。ありがたく思いな。
にしても火薬量ちっと多くない？
Tomoko gave her usual snarky retort, but I didn't agree. Chisato-chan said way too much. She'd taken this too far. This was crazy.
というわけで、アキラ！このチケットで夏美と行ってきなさい。初デート！
だから、勝手に決めるな。俺は英語なんて。
アキラくん？
いや、そんな。君吉の都合を聞いてから。
A grand cheer erupted. Before I knew it, there was even a crowd gathering outside the classroom. With things how they were, the whole school will know about this tomorrow. And I'll have to spend several days on a bed of nails. Whatever doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. You'll be fine. I don't think it'll kill you. Got the ball rolling, that's what she's done. Unsure whether to be angry or sad, I raised both my fists as I objected to Chisato-chan, my face on the verge of tears. But Chisato-chan gave me a hearty laugh, then a strong pat on the shoulder with a huge grin on her face.
別に映画でも何でもいいからさ。行ってきなよ、夏美。本当はあんただって早くアキラとお出かけしたかったんでしょ？
I pounded on Chisao-chan's chest, but deep down, I wasn't complaining. She wasn't wrong that Akira-kun and I have both been acting cautious around each other, and haven't broached the topic once this whole time. Then, perhaps this was really her way of showing me consideration. Thinking about it that way allowed me to at least somewhat forgive Chisao-chan's outrageous actions.
というわけで皆の衆、幸多かれ2人の未来としばらくは愉快な話題に事欠かない楽しい毎日を祝って盛大な拍手を。
Wah! I take it back! No way I can forgive this!
佐藤ちゃん、いい加減にしてよ。私
I began to raise my voice in utmost anger. But then...
2年 C 組、君吉夏美さん。2年 C 組、君吉夏美さん。
Oh God, what did I do?
尾形先生がお呼びです。職員室まで来てください。繰り返します。
あれ、私
The school broadcast was calling my name. Ogata-sensei was calling me? What on earth could this be for? Oh no. Did they find out that I was the one who set fire to the mop bucket?
夏美？
あ、ちょっと行ってくるね。それじゃあ。
After dismissing Chisao-chan and Tamako-chan's dubious looks, I began to make my way out of the classroom. It was only later I learned my sudden departure caused the girls to start interrogating Akira-kun too, rather than just the boys.
ねえねえ東堂くん、告白はなんて言ったの？やっぱり夜は電話とかでラブラブトーク？夏休みは2人でどこかに旅行とか？
誰か助けてくれ。
I'd throw you a buoy, but I don't have one right now, so sorry. After finally securing a quiet place by the drinking fountain, Akira breathed a sigh of relief. He even pushed and kicked around until a moment ago, and the joints in his body were aching.
まったくひどい目にあった。
It was unclear if the boys and girls were really celebrating. Their congratulations were so rough and unforgiving that it made him wonder if they were actually jealous. In all honesty, though, he knew they were probably just looking for distraction from their boring school lives. But that didn't make being on the receiving end any easier.
しばらく教室には戻らない方がいいな。
You know, I just noticed that center fountains. Whoa! I just also noticed another thing. There's two spigots on this thing this thing that are crooked. Somebody should fix them. He left his bag behind, but it was too late to do anything about that. He began heading in the direction of the art room, but a thought suddenly came to mind after he took the first step. His classmates in the art club were fond of rumors. They were likely already up in arms about this latest revelation, so going to the art room at this point in time was essentially a death sentence.
それにしてもチサのやつめ。
呼んだ？
あっと
Speak of the Cupid, and she shall appear. A voice suddenly cried out from behind, causing Akira to jump in surprise. When he looked back, Chisada was standing there with a grin and an amused look on her face, accompanied by a bitterly smiling Tamako.
いやー、さっきは盛り上がったね。久々に楽しい学園タイムを満喫しちゃった。
お前な。
アキラちゃん大変だったね。
Akira glanced at her with a hint of genuine anger. As he wasn't fond of crowds, it had been no laughing matter. It was a rather annoying experience.
ごめんごめん。調子に乗ってちょっとやりすぎたね。あそこまで話が大きくなるとは思わなかったからさ。夏美には悪いことしちゃった。
Oh no, you don't seem all that remorseful to me.
俺はいいのかよ。しかもちょっとじゃないぞ。同僚校間違えてるっての。
まあさすがにやっちゃったって感じはしたけどね。
だってアキラはみんなにもみくちゃにされるのは慣れてるでしょ。去年美術で入選した時は今日以上にすごかったんだしさ。だからこの程度は平気平気。
勝手に決めつけるな。たく。
アキラちゃん。
Akira was upset and in no mood to play along with Chisao's jokes, so he spit those words out to end the conversation. Intending to leave, he slipped between the two of them and turned his back.
最近夏美おかしいんだよ。
He almost didn't hear it. Chisao's voice was low, a far cry from the cheerful tone she had up until a moment ago. Akira suddenly stopped and turned around. Chisato was standing with her back turned and her shoulders slumped. Tomoko also had a forlorn expression on her face.
アキラのクラスにもあの話伝わってるんでしょ。うちの介護福祉センターのこと。
With a pain in his chest, Akira nodded. People even in his class had been talking about the murder at the Psychic Care and Welfare Center. However, most of the students were keeping mum out of consideration for the well-liked Chisato, and warnings from their homeroom teachers not to make a commotion out of it.
私はいいんだよ。個人として被害を受けたわけじゃないし、介護福祉センターも混乱はしているけど、なんとか元通りになりつつある。でも夏美は。
君吉がどうかしたのか。
Chisato faced Tomoko and faintly nodded. Wait, oh, never mind. For a second I read that as Tanako and like, wait, what? Then she turned around with a serious expression and asked,
アキラ、正直に言ってよ。あんた、夏美のアルバイトのこと知ってた？
Akira gasped from the sudden question. Still, to honor his promise to Natsumi, he tried to tell Chisato that he didn't know. But then he remembered where Natsumi worked and said, yeah, while nodding.
以前スケッチの帰りに通用口から出てきた君吉とばったり会って、彼女からも直接アルバイトしてるってことを教えられた。
そのこと誰かに喋った？
喋るわけないだろ。内緒にしてくれって君吉に頼まれたんだから。
だよね。
After hearing that, Chisato let out a discouraged sigh. Finding her reaction strange, Akira gave her a puzzled look. But then, at last, an idea struck him. If her part-time job was at the Care and Welfare Center, there was a high probability that she was involved with the people in the incident. Or worse, she could have had the misfortune of being a witness at the scene of the incident.
まさか君吉事件の時に。
その通りだよ。あの子たまたま用事があってセンターに行ったら事件の直後に出くわして、おまけに。
The director of Natsumi's workplace was murdered, and the killer was an elderly man living at the center who was a friend of Natsumi's. And worse, Natsumi saw the victim's body up close while it was being carried away. She all but lost control from the shock of it all.
その後も警察の事情聴取とか受けてさ、おかげで夜に熱出しちゃって、夏美。
そんなことが。
Oh shit, a fever. Yeah, then her symptoms are starting to manifest then. Definitely not good.
俺、何も知らなかった。
だよね。アキラちゃんがそのこと知ってたら、夏美のこと放っておくわけないもんね。
茶化すなよ、タマ。
そういう意味じゃないの。むしろ逆。どうする？千里。
Even though she was facing Tamako, Chisato didn't say anything and just held her head. Unable to understand the situation, Akira continued asking.
一体、君吉の何がおかしいんだ？隠さずに教えてくれよ。おい、千里、タマ。
後悔しない？
That was unexpected. Pulling down the hand covering her face, Chisato looked at Akira.
後悔しない？
How long had it been since Akira saw a look like this on Chisato's face? He thought it was a joke. At first, he felt exasperated, figuring it was just another one of her over-the-top threats that meant nothing. But Chisato wasn't laughing. Neither was Tamako. That spoke clear volumes of just how serious the coming conversation was going to be. Silence hung over the three of them, each with different expressions and sentiments. A cold sweat ran down Akira's cheek and dripped from his chin. I'll get his name pronunciation right. Eventually. The only sound that could be heard was the cry of the Higurashi in the evening. Eventually, after some hesitation, Akira slowly and somewhat awkwardly nodded at Chisato.
私とタマコはね、ちょっと期待していたんだよ。あんたがひどいやつだってことを。
は？
Akira's eyes widened from the unexpected words. But Chisato maintained her solemn expression and continued.
夏美のアルバイトのことは、私もタマコもずっと秘密にしてたよ。学校にバレると、校則違反で下手すりゃ停学だからね。もちろんそうなったら、私たちが全力でかばうつもりだったけど、私とタマコ、それに夏美の3人の秘密で行こうって決めてたんだ。
But now, a murder occurred at Natsumi's part-time job. So if everyone found out about Natsumi's part-time job, her gossip-hungry classmates would ask her all sorts of rude and insensitive questions, hoping to hear more about the incident. If that happened, her mental stability might deteriorate even further. That was why even Chisato and Tamako, her closest friends, didn't want to broach the subject for a long time. Yet recently, Tamako happened to overhear people in her class talking about how Natsumi worked at the scene of the crime.
だからね、もし夏美のバイトがクラスの誰かにバレるとしたら、それはアキラが誰かに話したからとし、でも今聞く限り、その可能性もないみたいだね。
当たり前じゃないか。俺がなんで君吉との約束を破るって言うんだ。
そんなの分かってるよ。アキラがそんなやつじゃないってことくらい、私たちだって幼馴染やってるんだからね。それはタマコにだって同じ気持ち。でも、だとしたらもっと最悪の可能性が出てくるんだよ。
まさか。
Akira's eyes widened in astonishment. That was truly the worst possibility.
そう。夏美が話してるんだよ。今回の事件のことをクラスの何人かに。実はもう裏も取ってある。
He was stunned. Even though this deduction could be reached by process of elimination, he couldn't believe such a bizarre answer. Or rather, he didn't want to believe it.
だけど、君吉にとって思い出したくもないことのはずなんだろう。なのに。
アキラのその疑問は私たちもずっと持ってた。話して夏美の得になることなんて何一つあるはずがない。だから夏美が話すわけない。そう思ってたけど。
けど。
そもそもおかしいんだよ。夏美から聞いたってこと、昼休みに話す機会があって聞いてみたらさ、夏美、そのひなみ沢の犯人のことをすっごく口汚く罵ってたそうなんだ。
え？その犯人ってどんな人かって？見るからに変な人だったよ。不審者って言った方がいいのかな。ほんと、ひなみ沢の人ってのは最悪だね。巻き込まれて災難だったよ。
She's really committing to this. Akira was stunned, speechless. Natsumi, of all people, speaking ill of others without any remorse? He couldn't imagine her with malice and contempt on her face.
そりゃ私もそう思ってるし、口にも出してたよ。あの子が誰かの、しかも少し前まで仲の良かった人を悪く言うなんてことって今まで一度もなかったしさ。だからその子から聞かされても私とても信じられなかった。
それ本当なのか？
私はまだ信じてない。その子、夏美のことをあまり好きじゃないみたいだったから、根も葉もない嘘を私たちに吹き込んでるんだって思ってる。思いたい。だけど、あの日から夏美、なんだか様子がおかしくてさ、事件のことを引きずらないようにって気を使ってたつもりなんだけど、逆に全然気にしてない感じなんだよ。よく笑っておしゃべりもして、いつもの夏美と同じで。
それっていいことじゃないのか？
He remembered back when their relationship was revealed. Natsumi got shy because she was being teased by other girls, and she was angry with Chisato. So as far as Akira could see, Natsumi seemed to be doing fine. Thinking about that, he felt a little relieved. But neither Chisato nor Tomoko agreed with that assessment.
アキラちゃんは夏美のことよく知らないからそう思うかもしれないけどさ、私たちは毎日毎時間あの子と喋ったり遊びに行ったりしてるからわかるの。あの子って結構嫌なことがあった時にはそれを引きずる性格なんだよ。落ち込んでる時は大丈夫って口で言う割に顔とか態度にはっきり出るから。なのに最近あの子のことをずっと注意して見てるんだけど、今の夏美にはそれがないんだよ。
つまりどういうことだ？
なんていうか夏美じゃないみたい。人が変わったっていうか、何かに乗っ取られたような、そんな異常な感じがする。
Akira was about to dismiss her concerns as nonsense, but the serious look on Tomoko's face shut him right up. Tomoko was always a realist. she never believed in ghosts or invisible beings. So for her, of all people, to use the word abnormal demonstrated just how seriously she meant it.
それにさ、アキラのクラスでも聞いたことはあるよね。ひなみざわの話。
ああ。
It was a ridiculous story. Rumors straight out of a horror movie were being shared even in Akira's class. Things like natives of Hinamizawa acting abnormal and attacking others, or killing themselves as a result of Orishiro-sama's curse. However, he had no interest in that, and ignored it, figuring it was just idle gossip that'd soon be forgotten.
でも、それがどうした？君吉には関係のない話だろ。
夏美がひなみざわの人間だったとしたら、アキラも知ってるよね。あの子が前に住んでたところ、沖宮っていうの。それで私も最近知ったんだけど、例のひなみざわ村の隣町も同じ名前なんだよ。
おまけに新聞でたまたま見て気づいたんだけど、君吉って名字、ひなみざわ村の村長も同じなの。
Secret's out now.
あまり聞かない名字だし、ひょっとしたらって思ってね。
Akira suddenly gasped. He understood what Chisato and Tamako were trying to say.
もしかしたらさ、あの子ひなみざわの出身なのかもしれない。だからなんていうか、たたりか何かに乗っ取られてっていうのもあながち冗談と笑えないんだよ。
バカバカしい。
私だってそう思うよ。でもそうでなくてもさ、夏美が自分からひなみざわの悪口言いふらしてるのは、それを私たちから隠すために自分は違うってアピールする意図もあるんじゃないかってね。
それ考えすぎだよ、千里。
As a matter of fact, she isn't. She's actually right on the money.
ならあんたはどうなの、タマコ。そうじゃないって言い切れる証拠が何かあるっていうの？
千里、あんた。
私だって信じられない。信じたくない。だけどそう考えると、夏美のあんな異常行動の理由が全て説明できちゃうんだよ。
Shudder. Chisato said that and wrapped her arms around herself and trembled, hanging her head with a grimace of revulsion. Whether it was because she thought her friend had the blood of lunatics running through her, or because she hated herself for suspecting her friend might be something like that, Akira didn't know.
確かめたのか、それ。
できるわけないでしょ。もし違うって言われても信じていいのかわからないし、ましてそうだって言われたら私。
Akira understood Chisato's frustration and indecision very well. No one would want to believe their friend was a lunatic. But at the same time, no one wants their friend to be a liar. Facts and fiction, when forced to accept one or the other, which would bring less pain and suffering. Nevertheless...
もしも君吉がそうなら、千里と玉は友達を辞めるのか？
After sighing heavily, Chisato and Tamako looked up at Akira. Then after choosing his words, Akira breathed in and spoke quietly.
どこで生まれたって君吉夏美や君吉夏美だ。俺は君吉を信じるよ。
アキラ。
千里も言ってただろ。君吉は事件のショックで心が不安定になってるって。だったら俺たちにできることは、君吉が元通りになるまで待って見守ってやることじゃないか。違うか？
アキラちゃん。
俺は君吉が好きだ。今は傷ついて荒れた振る舞いになってるかもしれないけど、 いつか元の君吉に戻ってくれると。俺たちがそれを信じてやらなきゃ、苦しんでる君吉がかわいそうじゃないか。
Listening to Akira's well thought out words, the two of them turned their gaze downward. But Chisato quickly raised her head, as though in agreement, and shook off the feeling. Then she turned to Akira with a smile on her face.
いやいや、参ったね、こりゃ。私たちが夏美の一番の理解者のつもりだったのに、アキラに美味しいとこ持っていかれるとはね。ちーちゃん、一生の不覚だよ。
千里。
そうだね。そうだよね。私たちがしっかりしなきゃ。一番辛いのはあの子なんだからさ。
Tamako said that, clapped her hands, and gave a refreshing smile. She turned back to Akira, looking at him with a hint of mischief.
にしても、ほんと一途だよね、アキラちゃん。そこまで固い絆だとは、私も思わなかったよ。
そうだそうだ。そういうかっこいいセリフは本人に言え。このたわけ。
やった。何しやがる千里。
それじゃあ日曜日は任せた。しっかり夏美のために働いてこいよ。
じゃあね、アキラちゃん。夏美のことよろしくね。
After saying that, the two of them headed back to the classroom in high spirits. Akira saw them off and caught himself looking up at the sunset sky.
そうだよ。君吉は君吉だ。
When those two first introduced him to her, he thought she was a girl who reminded him of the autumn cherry blossoms. Like a rose, vivid but not garish. Like a sunflower, lively but not showy. Just simple. A fleeting beauty who appeared susceptible to a stiff breeze. He liked her innocently smiling face. He loved her sincerity that brought tears to her eyes when she looked at his drawings and declared them fantastic. She was probably more gentle than any girl he had ever met. It felt like she had a warm heart. That's why he was nervous. Even though he said encouraging things to Chisato, Akira was also very scared. If something caused her to lose that kindness and innocence, and if they were never to return again, what would he do? No, what should he do? Should he wait? Should he move on? Or...
Natsumi.
He gently muttered that name. He wished to someday call her by that name when he conveyed his feelings to her. That alone brought a memory of Natsumi's smile into his mind, warming his heart. If possible, he'd like to see it all the time. He wanted to get it back, and if he was capable of that. In the evening sky, the voice of the Higurashi could be heard echoing. The vividly colored scenery was beautiful, and Akira kept staring at the clouds, flowing in the sky as they faded into a deep vermilion hue. Well, those were some pretty big words of encouragement that you just spouted there, Akira. Nice big display of faith and friendship that could rival the stuff I see in the main stories. Sadly, I'm scared that your guys' attempt in believing in Natsumi is not really going to pan out like you hope it will. Because what's Higurashi without experiencing a few tragedies along the way to a happy ending, am I right? That certainly was the case for the main stories, and, well, I got no reason to believe that at least that aspect of this whole thing will be any different here. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and end things here. I think this is a good place to stop. I'm very curious to see what will happen next time. Again, I have a feeling I know how this is all going to end anyway, and unfortunately I don't think it's going to end very well, but all the same, I can't help but be curious what exactly is going to play down. Well, go down, rather. I'm starting to get a little invested in these characters now, for sure. And I don't want them to experience an unhappy ending. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this latest episode of the Higurashi When They Cry console arcs. If you did and you want to see more content from me, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you all next time. Take care.